Ooh, I like that. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are going to be taking a look at JUNON from BE:FIRST. There's a special dance performance that recently got released on BE:FIRST YouTube channel. I'm intrigued by this because I did look at BE:FIRST when they released Master Plan and I really enjoyed it. It was really cool and I'm definitely intrigued. I'm assuming this is just going to be one member and not the full group. What one member's dance movement quality is going to be presented here. I just can't wait to take a look, so let's go ahead and check it out. I liked that. Ooh, I like that. That was cool. I like the kick on that. We all know this has like a heavy Spanish flair about it. I think it's because of the guitar that they have. And the percussion too. It's really nice. Ooh. Love that. Yeah. Nova Flame. Such an earworm. Nova Flame. Nova Flame. Nice. I like the BE:FIRST fingerprint right there. We're here for it. Cool. Nice framing here. Like that too. Ooh! I like this course. What a tease. What a tease. Yeah. Some of these grooves they do are very fitting and tasteful. Wow. Cool. Nova Flame. JUNON Sky High. Sky High, I have seen something from them because of there was a feature done with Stray Kids and Sky High together. So I have heard of Sky High before. Dancers. Kite Risa. I always am fascinated at who's in charge of a lot of these. Nopo is the choreographer. Okay, good chance I've seen a Nopo choreo. Nothing crazy. I enjoyed that. Tasteful. I feel that I would assume it's fitting for our mover, right? Remember, I've only seen one discography from BE:FIRST. Eventually it will be more than that. I do feel that in my future for sure. But I do like the setup of it. What I find interesting too is, and you guys may feel this way as well, whenever you look at a dance practice or you look at a visual dance performance like this, but let's say it is of their discography. I'm assuming this is, I mean, I didn't look at the credits, so I could be totally out of pocket for this. Is this a JUNON track? Like, I'm assuming yes. No, it is. Oh my gosh, I just talked about it with Sky High. Bless it. But my point being, whenever it's a dance focused type of performance where they're presenting it as this is a dance performance. The priority is the dance more so than the vocals and how they're presenting it, meaning they didn't do a music video visual for this to my knowledge first. They did the dance performance first. And so for me, I always try to look at release schedules to showcase some degree of influence as to what they want us to focus on when. So in the case here, I do feel like the dance does have a priority and a focal point, and I can see that in a lot of the choices. I think it's fun. I like the usage of the dancers that they have. Very nice. It does feel very international, which kind of low-key justifies the type of concept in with using that Spanish guitar, a lot of that. Ooh, it's giving like a seductive romantic getaway. Feels like that, right? And it doesn't bother me that they're in a warehouse, and I love a lot of their fits. I'd like to own a lot of their outfits. So we're doing great so far just on a environmental standpoint. Right here, the turning through and they set up good level representation, very clear to me who my feature is. And I also come from the lens is, yes, I know a lot of people who watch these videos, they're very familiar with who JUNON is. I am not, like I've already said. So I'm naturally going to be trying to figure out who is JUNON and where is he in the formation, because choreographers, something that I feel as a choreographer myself is if I am in charge of featuring somebody, I need to make it very clear for my audience who is featured when, because I don't want them to be asking questions because it'll take away from what I want them to focus on, which is my feature, right? And that can be not just in a K-pop, J-pop sense. It can be from a like show choir sense, if you know what that is. It can be just, I mean, there's so many different facets. Just regular dance choreography that doesn't have an artist involved. If you have a pop-up feature, you want them to be featured. So levels are a really great way to very clearly showcase who you want as your feature because he's the only one still standing. Looks great. They all come up. I like that. Notice that they peel it or they take the energy and they transfer it from the legs and roll it up from the back. Very nice. And I like that they're facing away from him as well. Very fun. He said, my name is Jay. Cool. Nice to meet you, Jay. And we go and we face the back. The zoom-ins are cool. I liked that cut where it goes and it expands over to a different environment. I think that was fun, tasteful, and very easy to visualize. So I liked how we panned it to the side, just a nice little look. Then we pan it over to the other side with a nice little bleed up with the hands. I really appreciate that. Notice there's this breath, not tension, but it definitely feels like there's this air, right? That how they're creating texture here is that they could create that sensual tension, but it's more of a welcome, you know, it's definitely, it feels more suave, right? I'm here for it, and it matches the track very well in timbre and texture. And then there's that subtlety here, little traces, they take it and then they're about to drop it. And they drop right there, showcasing a little bit of the hips on that. And then they take the hand, expand it across, and they're looking towards each other, which is really cool. Then I like the moment with our dancers who are in the same level as JUNON or Jay, and how they take that arm and that arm leads them to their next transition. I think that was really fun. I like the symmetry of this too. I'm always a fan of just making it easy on me as a viewer sometimes to just know who my feature is. He's the only one not moving, or how he's moving as modification or progressions, like everyone's arms are down or they're angled to the outside, framing, he's the common denominator here, right? He's in our center. I naturally want to watch him. And the camera really helps with that too. I love this. Boom. Oh, that's really nice. And notice they do little snaking to use that head to match that tone very well, because vocally that's kind of how it feels, right? To our ear, presenting it out. I like that. It feels conversational. Whenever you take your hands out, when we talk to people, this is kind of what we do. We don't really talk like a DJ scratch. We normally have our palms facing up. So anytime you see that type of position in these types of tracks, for me, it kind of feels like we're using movement to further conversation or that element within your choreography and in your music. So I liked seeing that where they take it to the side. Then I like the switch. Notice that we have a nice little interruption happening, or a little pulse that happens with the body. And then we take it. Notice that they're accenting it to the hips. So it has a nice, not funk, I wouldn't really give it that, but it does feel very intentional in the position for sure. And I like how we bring it back in. Very nice. You know that little pa-pa, you know how people la da da, like does that, I don't know the best way to word it, where they're kind of striking a pose. It kind of feels like that's what we're going for, but there's that nice ballroom. It's like a ballroom pose, right? Kind of gives that Latin side of things, which ties into a lot of what I've already referenced in the tonal color of the guitar, which is, I think, a Spanish guitar, and they sound different than an acoustic guitar, right? And so I love that power of music goes so strong. They go back in, boom, boom. I really love that they shot that arm out, and then they're making a really nice traveling ISO where they make it start with the legs, transferring it over, using the head to guide us as a viewer. Okay, they're looking front, we get to focus on the legs. Then when he looks to the side, I naturally want to go and look where he is looking, which is at the hand, where he subtly brings it in. Hence why it was easier for us to catch that hand in comparison to if he just brought the hand in after the legs with no head. Nice. He goes and he presents it over to the side. Da-da. I like that. He goes and he makes it more like a little salute action. They go across the mouth. I do like the subtlety of the differences. And then you have them do a nice little pull. But once again, presenting with the palm up feels conversational. Like, yeah, okay, we're here for it. And I like that right there where they hit that leg, they kick it, and they kind of chug to it, and then they brush those hands over to the side, boom, boom, da-da, really nice. Kind of feels like we're dusting off the old cobwebs and we're here for a good time, good vibes. Feels like that, which I love. The walks are nice. I always appreciate with the, whenever you walk on tempo, it just feels very intentional. It feels thought out and considerate of your space. And me as a viewer watching you, you want me to watch and appreciate not just your content, but also your transitions and your level choices. Like, it's just, I just always appreciate it as just my personal hot take. But I like the little stomp there. It matches the music well. Really cool camera shot too. You got me, and then they take the arms up and they drop them low. Now there's a ton of cuts in this, so it is going to be hard to catch all the details, only what I'm being presented in the angle in which they show it. So I would be fascinated or intrigued on a fixed cam dance practice equivalence of this to see how they transition into a lot of these choices. But do I know whether or not they made this choreography with that in mind? I don't know. I know I've choreographed concept shoots where the intention was not to have all of the choreography puzzle piece together. They were all in their own respective lanes. So I don't know with that, but I'm here for this. This is really fun, and I like the cinematic essence of it because we're able to focus naturally on who they want us to focus on, not just in choreography, but also in camera work, which is cool. Right here, boom, boom. I like that. Hoo, hoo. Nice. When they go, they take it over, and then we present it out a little bit more to create some space between the hand and the head. I think that looks really nice. And then we present it out. I love that. And then it does look like we do a kickball change to kind of lower the level on that. Well, now I'm curious. I gotta go back. It's really dim for me, so I gotta brighten it up just a smidge. Oh, no, they just kind of swivel that arm around. Nope, the knee around, and then they end up doing a little ball change, and it matches his run. Ah, that was cool. And he comes up, boom, and then we represent one of our arms. We leave it up, and then everybody still, you know, has their hand kind of tucked on the side, and they do a little sweep around. We also would call that a renajam. Just depends on context of style that you're doing. I like that. And then also, what are they doing here? Oh, so they do a little, not really a full pas de bourrée, but we do end up kind of resetting on our feet, going left, right, left before we represent forward. Good intention. You can tell that where their energy is pulling from our dancers, because notice that both of their hands are draped down. So I really like the intention there. It's subtle but effective. Same with our feature. Really dope. And they go and they brush it once again. So this makes sense why they're pulling it from here, because there's a lot of these brushes, right? Just like there's palm presenting for conversation, there's this brush to go ba-da-da, really nice. And it kind of, the type of timbre or sound context in which this instrument comes across in, this kind of movement, da-da-da, feels very full and fitting to the type of, like I said, timbre that we are being presented with. It's super nice. And I like that. Do-do-do. It does feel, what did he do? I think I noticed this first time, which I like the kick. Oh, yeah. So he kicks and then he takes it, and it feels like we're doing, like a whacking overhead to some degree, or an air screw variation, but I wouldn't tie it over to whacking, but it is a fundamental I do see in whacking and I really liked it. It was cool, and it definitely felt very fitting and full to where we're at in context. So it's super nice. And there's a subtlety here, which I really like. That was really cool. Now that, really nice on the tone on that. Super, super dope. And then Nova Flame. I really like this. This gives heavy JT vibes, Justin Timberlake. And I think Justin Timberlake has done a track similar to this. And I think that's why it feels like that seductive vibe. I could not tell you what track it is at the top of my head, but it is very JT coded, and I wonder if that was his intention. I'm here for it. I really like it. This Nova Flame is definitely how JT can present in his tone and his course that he presents. So this is I really like this. That's probably why it's registering in such an earworm for me, because it's low-key nostalgic and there's some familiarity behind it for myself personally. I like the Nova Flame where they're taking it and they're allowing there to be some energy or transfer of energy through the fingers on this, and they're making it a low-key fixed point too. So it allows more opposition to happen with the body. It feels like we're not in control as much. The flame is controlling us. And I wonder if that is the intention of the lyricism, not quite sure, or letting the flame kind of encompass our feelings and just go with the flow on that. That's kind of would be my question asked, but I'm here for it. Yep, and it goes Nova Flame. They set it down really nice, very clear when they drop it down in the ISO. It looks really nice. Then right there, that little jing, very clear. Notice with the flick, good fingerprint we've already seen established in other sections of the choreography, but seeing it here with that knee was very tasteful because it matches the strum of the guitar, and it gives a sense of not word play because there's no words for that particular part, but it's a sound play is what I would call it. Matching the sound exactly how you want me to see it. It also gives the imagery of a guitar based on the pantomime shape of it. So I really like that choice in the unison of it for this context. With the dancers, notice it is symmetrical. They have an even number dancers because you're dealing with an odd number feature at all times. So it's just going to be easier logistically to create symmetry and balance when you operate with even number dancers versus odd. Yes, it can be done, of course. You see even number groups all the time, but it does create a different challenge for your choreographer when they have to showcase one person with an even number. So shout out to the logistics of that. Looks great. And notice there's this little body roll tension legato that kind of took place to come on the tail end of that. That was really nice. It comes up, boom, boom. So there's a lot of these like legato tense moments. And then we create this ISO slow and controlled perspective on these fold-ins, which I really like. It's cool. They take it. I like how they're kind of draping it on the head. It does feel like we have a lot of these influenced positions. It does remind me of the Latin ballroom scene to a certain extent, but not enough to really give it the label. It's just more inspiration because of the music. And so it kind of feels like we're tailoring some of our choices and dynamics and movement in reference to what we're going to be reminded of when we hear a song like this, right? So it's cool. And I like that Nova Flame, and I like how we kind of do a low-key trace on the body on that. We take the arms, take it out, boom, boom, boom. We notice that we're guiding with the chest to help guide where our arms need to descend from. And we bring it, oh, so this is matching the tension of that, the hold of the tone, really nice. Then we switch to the other side, and then we switch it through. So it definitely, once again, this whole little posture vibe right here is definitely giving a lot of a, oh my gosh, I mean, here's the thing. My niche is not ballroom. I've taken ballroom lessons before, and I can tell you as somebody who has a heavy street style background, the movement quality of ballroom is such a foreign language to my body. It took me a hot minute and a half to even get the rotation of the hips right. So shout out to ballroom dancers in general for that. And I understand that they struggle with conversion to other styles of dance because of their posture that they're implicitly familiar with in their movement quality. And there's beauty in both, right? But I really love how there is such a subtle posture influence in some of these choices that really make it fitting, and it just tailors very well, and it feels intentional to the track itself. It doesn't feel like we're just doing movement for the sake of movement. It feels like a dance performance. Like the dance matters to the track. It's not, and it's a priority. And I can always appreciate and respect in an artist's perspective choreographically when I can see that in the product like this. This is so nice. I love that Nova Flame. I love that little throw there, really at the tail end of that. And I love the accent there. Boom, ding, ding, really nice. Matches that percussion super well. ISO'd with the hip, but they're also shifting the weight to allow that little hinge to take place, but with some heaviness involved in it. So it's not super isolated. And you don't want things super isolated unless there's tension involved because of how they set up the tone of it in the beginning. And they're doing a great job of it. And it goes, hoo, hoo. So they go and they take it and travel it around from one side to the other, once again, matching the rhythm. There's a lot of choreography that is matching his tone or how he is singing it. So I'm curious if we do end up seeing a live version of this, how much accountability is going to be required of him to be able to sing this the same way live, because I've talked about this in many other videos and I'll talk about it here. There's a lot of, with vocals, when you deal with artists, that there's more accountability that is required for them to have to do it a very specific way if you're choreographing to a particular tone that they execute onto the track that you choreograph to. And that's just what helps marry your musicality together and be very efficient. So there's always a risk that comes with it, but I really love it when it's done in this way, because it just feels that we're really approaching the intention of all of the track and the lyricism and the tone of the track, not just all of the backbeats. It doesn't feel like we're playing it safe, and I can always respect that too. Super cool. Bring it through, boom, 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 and we go. And I like this nice little, it does feel like we're doing a little, it's a body roll pony, right? And they're taking the arms really nice and stoic, super cool. Nice little kick. So notice he kicked, and it looked like he triggered everybody else because they fully rotated out of their kick. So that was really nice, very clear to continue to clock him as our feature. Super nice. And we go over to the side. Everybody leans over. Everyone's leaning to their right. He's leaning to his left. So the visual of the leans all go to the left side, even though people are facing different directions. I love that choice. Boom, da-da. I love that accent with the hands. Super dope. And then right here, they have to have some degree of uniformity or cleanliness in order for there to be these types of cuts. So they're doing a great job on staying consistent in these shoots, which depending on environment, that can be influenced. What you're wearing, the environment of the space. Is it cold? Is it too hot? How many takes? What's your time frame like? There's so many logistics on set that can influence how your movement's going to come across on camera. We're human. That's going to happen. So the fact that they're able to do these types of cuts and it feels very seamless is showcasing competency of the dancers and their preparedness in this environment. It's because they're able to do what they need to do, hold it angled the way it needs to, and he's able to do his job and perform the way he needs to, so we can be very efficient in the time that we have to shoot this. So this is really nice. I love that with their dancer, da-da-da, nice little subtles. I really love the tattoo on the side. That's smexy for sure. Now, I have tattoos. I don't have any on the front part of my body. They're all on my back or on my arms. But that right there, I'm like, ooh, that's cute. I may get something, but no, I need some time away from tattoos, and then we'll try again. But I digress. I love that though. He presents, and you have your ladies in the back. So I love that. They go up, da-da-da-da. So I like the straight line, and the fold downs are really nice from them. I like that he's having a nice conversational moment with us through the absence of movement. Looks super dope. He goes hit, 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 hit. It ties into what's going on the fold downs with the dancers in the back, but it showcases different levels. So I really like that choice. I like the rotation of the arms where the dancers drop even lower. I think that was really fun. Super cool silhouette and the environment behind him. That was cool. And they expand out, da-da, and they take the hand out, and then we go and we extend it over to the left side in the walkthrough. And I love from here, we have our male dancer, so it turns into more of a partner work section, which I think is super cool. And he's collaboratively involved, even though he doesn't have a partner per se in this moment. But I like this, Papa, and he's making it look like, okay, I'm talking about what we could have been or what we were. It's kind of what it's giving here, like we're reminiscing or looking back, because his body in profile is facing away from the dancers, he's not facing towards, but his head is referring back a lot of times when we think about our past time. So I don't know what the lyricism is, so I'm curious about if you guys could be helpful for that. They didn't have an English subbed translation, and that's okay. We're here for the movement, and I love it. But of course the lyricism can really help in understanding some wordplay choices. But I really appreciate the tone, the runs, as well as just the percussion being represented. I think already it's very commendable for sure. So I really like the partner work, rotation around. I love that. The guys go and they expand out. But he's low-key matching what the guys are doing, but the guys are syncopating it a smidgen more in the percussion. Then you have your girls turn out of it, which is really cool. I love that stoicness. God, it's so good. Then right here he goes and he stops the dancers, and now he's here on a stairwell. I do know there's a Be First JUNON, so that's the group he's a part of. That's super cool. There's all those fingerprints all over this. I don't know if those are real posters or what, but it does look really fun. Boy group audition, something along those lines. So having your dancers kind of walk through the space for him to pan out, low-key, that's just really fun. It actually has the dancer to kind of allow different interesting camera shots of him, and it kind of takes up time in a really dope way. Yeah, I mean, it goes from the fist over. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but the focus from the fist to him was a really cool way to fill up that phrase without him having to move as much, because it was a cinematic element showcased. And if you think about it, this is something that I've noticed a lot of times. Choreographers can sometimes make really good directors. I don't know the director and their background or anything, but sometimes if you think about it, direction of cinema is the equivalence of choreographing with film, is essentially what it is. So I can really appreciate the cinematic side of things more as a layman, and because of my professional work, I do some cinema stuff, but not on a professional degree like I do with dance. So I know my lane with that, and that's totally fine. But my point being, I really enjoy whenever I get to see a cinematic, intentional moment that ties your dance in very efficiently and well, and you can see the dance represented in a way that it's supposed to be intentionally shown as, and even the absence of movement, it still progresses your storyline, whether it's through a focus, like you are guiding me where you want me to focus, and it feels like you really help tell a story. That to me is a good director, whenever you are able to do that through the cinematic skill set that you're given. I just think it's so cool. And that was a really dope moment, all that to say. I didn't need dancing in that moment because we were able to have those really cool pan overs that filled up the space, but also used the dancers, but more as like a conversational storytelling versus using physical movement or using choreography and techniques to get that same point across. It's cool. It's efficient. I like that. Boom, boom, boom. Notice he goes and he takes it, boom, and accents it from back to front. Really nice choice. And then he moves through, whoa, excuse me. But I like it. I don't know if they're doing freestyle movement or anything along those lines. I wasn't quite sure how they did the setup. But I like how they go and they rotate around to go from high to low. Matches his run going from high to low. It does feel like everyone's kind of doing boom. It's structured where they're all very similar, at least our ladies are, and I only see one guy, so I can't verify if they're all supposed to do the same thing, guys and girls. But with my feature, his hand is up, very clear to see him. He brings it down, I love that. And then from here, they've now turned our feature into a fixed point on the camera, and so it creates a really dope visual with all the other dancers, because they're moving and they're creating more extroversion and more kinesphere range. So that's so cool. Back to the stairs we go. Yeah, Nova Flame, boom. And we go and we shoot that arm up, nice. And he's still in the center, but it's subtly different. It's not in a V anymore. He's like in the clump, which is similar to the other environment that they shot this in. Same choreo as we saw before, but different formation. Love that shot, boom, 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 from more of the corner. I'm always a fan when you see choreography shot from different vantage points, because you allow me to see the movement in a different context, right? It helps me appreciate it, and it also doesn't make it look repetitive or redundant. Even though it's the same choreo, it's how they shot it, gave it a different font or a different tone in it through the visuals, which I think super cool. I like how they're now going in and they made it a circle, move a flame. It made the movement once again look subtly different because we're looking at it from a different angle, whether it's through the camera or through the formation. So I really like seeing that here, marrying the two together and go through, whenever he's doing these pulls, what helps make the pull look that way is he's not just pulling the arms down in opposition, he's pulling from the chest to help create some sense of depth to the torso as he's moving through the sound. And I love the subtleties of that, because it feels like even my artist is invested from head to toe, not just in extremities. And it makes me appreciate what I'm looking at even more. I would say a good example of somebody who also showcases that, I would say from the K-pop scene, would be B.I. In his track BTBT. He uses some really interesting pushes and pulls that definitely showcases movement quality in a very fascinating way. And so I would extend the same compliment to my guy right here. I think that was a really cool choice. And nice, it goes, pas de bourrée to get to the other side, but notice that we're matching the music very well. And this part, and there's a subtlety there with the hip hinge. Then we take the arms, we bleed it through, and then we rotate it around, keeping them connected to create some sense of opposition with the hands. And then we rotate them to create a nice pull to get us to productively go to somewhere else. And then right here, boom, Nova Flame, we've now turned it into a moving transition. He stays where he is, but it gets them into a nice column. Arms out. Look at the definition of their arms. Slay all day. We're here. Click, click. He goes. He takes the arms up. They all take it and angle it, framing it to the outside to create a different visual, but it all creates a sense of balance, because you have my guys over here creating it more towards up towards him. but going up. And also you see it on this side, and he is shooting his energy up to match. So it's cool, very tasteful, symmetrical. We love it. And right there, da-da-da, really nice. And notice it kind of chilled out at that point. They're all nice and low facing it. And then I love me a good trace on the floor. I've used that movement a ton of times in my choreo. It's just, it hits, it feels full. It gives your dancers something to do whenever you have a feature. I like it. I'm here for it. Yes, let's be angsty on this stairwell. Sometimes we just need that, you know? Come back in, and now we're dancing. I mean, oh, we have it. It's mixed. Okay, cool. So it goes over from side to side. Notice with the pulls, the camera's also panning it. I would call it keyframing, but I don't think that's what's happening here. Could be a post-production thing, but I digress. I think the camera's following them, and it just makes the movement look more extroverted or more full, even though it is subtle. It looks cool. Then we go, and I like the little surprise. Boom, and you have more people enter the chat. That's what it feels like. Super cool. The walking, I love that. Notice that we're adding some sense of presence with the torso, but it's more stylized. And I love that he takes the arm. Notice how subtle it is, and presenting with the wrist. I think that's cool, and he makes the dancers drop down. And then from here, he levels it out. That a lot of harmonies behind him. They're all peeling up, having their hands framed to the outside, and it gives the impression that he's controlling them. Boom, boom. He brings it in. They grab their hands to bring it in to mash him. Cool. And then right here, boom, boom, da-da-da-da. Have I seen something like this very recently? Yes, it was the 8 section for Maestro by 17. I like this. It's cool. No, I'm not calling plagiarism. I'm not saying anything like that, but I've seen this type of reference. They are using different angles, but this is a really cool shot when you have 1 point feature in it. It just looks really cool, and it provides a nice environment surrounding him too, and it matches your music well. Love that. And I love how they clocked just the hands in that moment too. Is a fun little cut. And then we went right here back to the chorus. This right here, Nova Flame, boom. Notice we're picking up our movement. Even though the tempo is the same, there is more density of content. Hence why it feels like we're building up our energy, because we're using more energy that we have to digest and process. And so it feels like we're escalating to a climactic place. So I really love these choices, and we're making our body more full in these choices, and the switches between our movements has now progressed and gotten faster between the switches. Hence why, even though the tempo hasn't changed, it feels like we're speeding up, right? Cool. I love that choice. Boom. Hit a nice little accent with the arms, with the twist of the hips. Really cool here. Let me bring it up. Boom. This is a little smexy moment. I love that. I mean, some of them have it up. Part of me wishes if we're gonna, I think that would have been really cool if everybody had like similar angles on that, but that's really smexy on that. I'm curious as to why we didn't see him do that, but we saw the dancers, but that was really dope. Ooh, Nova Flame. Boom. And then we go and we do a little chug using the arms to bring it back in. They come back up. Oh, really nice. Yep, Nova Flame. Boom, that's the same hinge that we did at the tail end of the other choruses, but notice it doesn't feel redundant or repetitive because we had a different setup getting into it. And a different camera option too. We're hitting it, boom, and then we're twisting it around. I think that's different than the other choruses too. Or the speed's a little different. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Love it. They rotate, we take the arms and we swing it down. Really cool. Then right there's your subtlety here. Nova Flame. Cool. The kick through, once again, that's very similar to, I believe that was what, course number 1, I think, at the end of that, whenever he went into the other environment. That was cool. That click, click, over, cool. But also different cinematic choices, so it helps us look at it subtly differently. Nice little partner moment here. Cool. She expands to the other side. He goes over. Nice subtlety, but complementary. And the different interactions, I love her fit. I think it's so cool. They go around, expand it out. The switch out, bo-do-do. He goes, he touches, and she says, no, and she turns away. Then there's tension that's being built in the back, but it's not taking away from the feature moment in the front, which is super cool. Nova Flame. From the side. I'm Jay from Jay, and there's your stairs. Super cool. We love it. I like the fact that he contributed to the lyrics. It's going to make it feel more genuine, you know? So I think that's cool. In general, I liked this. I mean, I think this was super cool. It definitely was coded in a genre that I grew up listening to. So there's a huge nostalgic factor to it. And I love the fact that we got to hear it in this way at this time period, so we can appreciate it in this way. I liked it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have taken a look at a Be First track, like I said, Master Plan. It is on YouTube already, and this one too is also going to be released as soon as I'm done editing it, because when it comes to J-pop specifically, I don't really keep those on Patreon as long as I keep other marathons or other collections, and I think that's totally fine. I really just like being able to look as I come across different things within this J-pop scene, because I feel like I get to expand on my knowledge or learn about subtle differences between J-pop versus K-pop versus P-pop. You know, it's fun for me. I'm definitely a fan for the ride and along for the ride, and I'm excited for the discussions for this. Once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.